for me, I think you should definitely come down because you'll help out the situation so much more. We all want you to come down, and because you've got our backs more than our government has.
There's two options. Flood the place with outside people. Maybe give the media and the politicians a reason to clamp down and go against it. Or leave it to the locals who are galvanising their community and actually setting an example to the rest of the country. That's my current thought process.
The Essex fight back is on. And despite their best attempts, the mainstream media and political establishment are failing to represent the patriotic and brave grands, mums, and daughters of the country as far-right thugs. As one outspoken viewer wrote to me over the weekend, well done for keeping up and covering the situation here in Epping. I never in my life thought I would see this kind of thing on our quiet and leafy streets. The government is going to have to take notice. Oh God, I hope you're right. But I have to say, all of that lot are doing their utmost to play the far-right thug game that they now use with gay abandon to shut down any legitimate discussion about our children being put under the constant threat of sex assault by illegal migrants. Like shamed ex-Labour MP Diane Abbott, who wrote today, "The far-right and fascists are on the march again, threatening serious violence directed at asylum seekers. All of the politicians who have demonized vulnerable people trying to exercise their lawful right to seek asylum bear responsibility for this." Or Narinder Kaur, who was wheeled out by Jeremy Vine to avoid talking about the real issue. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favour, click the subscribe button now, turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
Britain's first in there. They're far-right activists. I don't care what anyone says. This is far-right. They say they claim to care about women and children. If they cared about women and children, they'd be writing every time a woman was raped or murdered in this country, which is sadly a lot. The fact is, look at how they're behaving towards the police. And I think what they did yesterday was trying to do damage limitation. It's the mums and the children.
Well,
now.
they said it was picnicking. Yes, all it was.
And the fact is that, well, they weren't. They've made several arrests last night. And the fact is, the man has been charged. He's been dealt with. So if this man, asylum seeker, for whatever he's done, he's denied it, he's been charged, he's been a magistrate's court. Why are you rioting if the police have dealt with it? Why?
It reminded me of...
Oh, maybe because, Narinder, this is just going to keep happening again and again and again. Leo Kearse was right to point out legacy media on the Epping protest is laughable. Now, I have no idea about the alleged sexual assault case involving Hadoush Gurbasali Kibatu, who appeared at Chelmsford Magistrates Court earlier in the day. I don't know the details or the outcome, neither do these protesters. But what I do know is that their behaviour helps no one, least of all the alleged victim. The left is an Aztec-style child sacrifice cult, Leo Kearse said. And it's despicable that the MSM is rewriting the narrative around what's happening in Essex to bury the real story being the systematic rape of our women by illegal migrants who we are paying to stay in luxury hotels. And by the way, this is a fact. Okay, Diane Abbott and Narinder Kaur. I mean, for example, Toby Young crunched some of the numbers. Over 300 asylum seekers housed in hotels across Britain have been charged with 708 alleged offences in 3 years, including rape, theft and violence. It is sick. The locals have finally had enough. I knew Essex would be first, but there are hundreds of other communities across our United Kingdom on the brink because of the damage being done. Now, of course, in any street movement, there are some ne'er-do-wells. But in Essex, they have largely been the hard left Antifa agitators who were sent to stir trouble. Because the locals on the street are like you and are like me. Like the ex-governor of Epping St. John's School.
Went to Epping St John's School and I was parent governor for 4 years. Epping is a wonderful place. The families of the children that attend Epping School are wonderful, and we're here to support the family and we're here to support our town. What's happening, how we're being portrayed is not correct, and we're here to make a difference. A strong message from strong women.
So what's the placard that you have here?
We felt a lot of the press were incorrectly reporting us on Friday morning after our protest on Thursday. And so we just wanted to make it really clear that we're strong women, we're mums, we're sisters, we're aunties, we're parents of the area. So we're just here to support.
Yeah, the people here have been walking at the front have been mostly women and girls doing the march. Do you think that's because the people feel that a lot of the people in the hotel are a threat to women and girls?
Everybody is really concerned.
That's it, concern. Essex MP James McMurdoch summed up the message saying, "I'm not far right, I'm worried about my kids. Could this woman's message be any clearer or any fairer?" I actually found the scenes in Epping over the weekend deeply moving. I think it's the start of a peaceful fight back that the establishment simply does not know how to deal with.
I'm going to join the backwards walking poll.
Try and keep it as...
Just get the sign.
What do you think of what's going on?
All generations there. Local Reform Councillor Jamie McIver described it this way, 2 words, peaceful protest. And Restore Britain boss Rupert Lowe added, people in Epping and elsewhere have every right to hold serious concerns about unvetted foreign men being placed into their communities. The hotel in Epping should be closed along with every other in the country, and the occupants should be sent back where they came from. My friend Adam Brooks continued his excellent on-the-ground reporting.
I know, I've been told, people are saying there's more on the way. There is literally 1,000 people. It goes all the way up the road. Maybe 1,500 people here today. A lot of women and children. The peaceful people of Epping have come out and spoke. I just hope it stays that way late into the night.
Always do, mate.
For the safety of local residents and the people in there, this has to close immediately. A lot of these protesters are telling me they're going to be here every week.
But of course, what we cannot deny is that in part because of what's gone on in Essex, but also what's gone on for many years, the trust in the police is breaking down. Now, I want to show you some drone footage of the scene outside the Bell Hotel, which shows you just how insane this situation has become. Essex shouldn't be subjected to this. No neighbourhood should be subjected to this. But what do you do when your young girls and your young women continue to be assaulted while staying by illegal migrants who are staying at these local hotels? Eventually, something is going to have to give, and that is why we are seeing these extraordinary scenes. And a reminder, of course, because it is important, even though we have to be careful with the contempt of court laws, that the final straw for Epping was Habush Gerbasali Kabuto, this man being charged with 3 counts of sexual assault just 8 days after he arrived illegally on a small boat. Amongst his alleged crimes, the Ethiopian is said to have asked a schoolgirl aged 14 if she wanted to make Jamaican babies just before the sex attack. But after the way Antifa hard-left activists were given kid glove treatment by the Essex police, there has been this continued breakdown in trust, as pointed out in these brilliant interviews by the independent journalist Emma Dunwell of eSpeaks Freely.
I don't know. But I'm just going to tell you, it's very unfortunate what happened on Thursday. Violence did erupt, and that was because it was peaceful here. Was that CM16 people or... No, because people from the train station, who are so-called anti-racism group, have come up here to antagonize. And the police brought
Stam and Millwall together, Chelsea and Arsenal together, Arsenal and Spurs together, but you chose to bring them here. And then it kicked off, mate. And then it kicked off because you know full well you caused the problem. That night you caused the problem.
Even if it was like BLM or Palestine, like you'd never give it.
You would never bring them together, mate, would you? But you did. This is the problem. As an intelligent man, you wouldn't mix two things. You wouldn't mix oil with water, would you? You wouldn't mix oil with water, but you did.
Now, immediately as that interview ended, trouble did erupt as a patriot was seemingly arrested for nothing.
Stay there, stay there, stay there. Fine, stay there.
That was dealt with yesterday. That was dealt with yesterday.
Stay there.
Yeah? Step back from me then. Step back from me then.
Don't stop from the time it's
What did he do?
I don't know. No. Hold that for a second.
He was just stood there. He was just stood there.
You're nicking him again.
Listen,
Why do you comply?
he listened to me yesterday. And none of you have done your search.
Work the other day.
Yesterday, when it's called yesterday. Cool, do your research then. Why is it
coming like fucking buzzing time? You did! Mate, you didn't. You did not, mate. Listen, you did not.
Yeah, what fucking safe was it?
There's no cause for that. That was over.
Listen, I think a film.
The protesters also had no time for legacy media journalists.
Get him away! Officer, can we get him out of here, please? No, let go. No, it's all right.
Now, personally, I'd take a different approach there because I would think, actually, no, turn your cameras on the MSM. Ask them to justify why they continue to report so dishonestly on situations like this and why they are not challenging the police on their two-tier actions. Now, politically, only the UKIP leader Nick Tanconi was on the scene last night, urging peaceful protest in order not to give the MSM exactly what they desire.
Because of your effort, because of your work, other constituencies will see this. You will motivate them. But our political ideology is conservatism. Violence plays no part in what we do. The moment it turns violent is the moment you give the establishment what they need to shut us down.
Yes, well said. Well said.
Testosterone must be bridled. Passion must be bridled. And you must stand outside this hotel every single week and send a message to the government. I say, send them home! 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 Send them home!
last night, Tommy Robinson pledged to join the movement in Epping this Sunday after this video from a supporter. But first, in today's digital world, your online freedom and safety have never been more under threat, whether it's government overreach, tracking by big tech, or cybercriminals lurking on public Wi-Fi. That's why I use Surfshark. It is the world's best VPN that protects your identity and secures your data. But Surfshark is so much more than your usual VPN. Go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark to secure your data, protect your freedom, and support Outspoken at the same time. Now, look at this. Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing links so you can browse safely without being spied on. And it makes the experience so much easier and more pleasant too. Need to access certain apps or websites without VPN interference, like your banking app? Surfshark's bypasser feature handles that with ease. And if your VPN connection ever drops, Surfshark's kill switch immediately disconnects your device from the internet, keeping your data safe at all times. Plus, with dynamic multi-hop, you can route your connection through 2 different countries at once, doubling your encryption and making tracking nearly impossible. This means you can freely switch beyond your favorite country lock shows with the click of a button, so you can be watching your favorite TV shows and sport from all around the world, wherever you are. There are other benefits with Surfshark too. You can access it on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service too, which is a real positive. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. And what's more, Surfshark's so confident that it is the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 40 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken or use the code outspoken at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. But now, back to the show.
Visit to this place.
I would too. I hope he does, because I think that will make it even more bigger.
Come here. Look into that. Talk to Tommy. Tell him you want to see him coming down here.
Yeah, Tommy, I think you should definitely come down, because you'll help out the situation so much more. We all want you to come down, and because you've got our backs more than our government has. So I think you should come down, and it will make a big difference, 100%.
Here. I agree.
See, now Mum's showing her face.
Now, literally, after having seen that video Tommy posted on X last night, hear you loud and clear. I'm coming to Epping next Sunday, ladies, and bringing thousands more with me. Before adding, what's bits, they close the hotel by next Sunday. But in the past few hours, he appears to have had a change of heart, backing the local movement, which has been so effective thus far.
Whilst I think more people will go if we were going on Sunday, I think they're winning, currently winning. There's 2 options. Flood the place with outside people, maybe give the media and the politicians a reason to clamp down and go against it, or leave it to the locals who are galvanising their community and actually setting an example to the rest of the country. That's my current thought process. So I don't know if it benefits me to be, I don't know if it benefits the local people of Epping and what they're trying to do for me to be there on Sunday. That's my current thought process.
Now, Nigel Farage was also asked to weigh in on the Essex unrest today, as he unveiled a new plan which he says will make Reform UK the toughest party on law and order in British history. While he did condemn the so-called far-right thugs, as he always does, Nigel rightly raised the presence of Antifa and concurred with me that the vast majority of feeling is heartfelt from Essex locals terrified about their community being torn apart.
On Epping, I don't think anybody in London even understands just how close we are to civil disobedience on a vast scale in this country, and I regret saying that. Of course, there were some bad eggs that turned up at Epping. There were the usual far-right thugs. But equally, what about Antifa? Why are Antifa allowed to go to these demonstrations, to wear balaclavas, to not be identified, to do gestures last night of them shooting at members of the public? Why are Antifa allowed to turn up outside a meeting I do in Cornwall 3 months ago, to assault members of the public coming to a democratic meeting? So, you know, it isn't all far-right thuggery, as you might sometimes hear from our Prime Minister. But do I understand how people in Epping feel? You bet your life I do. You bet your life I do. You know, I'm sitting on my table with two mothers. You know, I mean, 14-year-old girl is sexually assaulted by an Eritrean who'd arrived by boat 8 days before. Don't underestimate the simmering anger and disgust that there is in this country, that we are letting in every week, in fact some days, many hundreds of undocumented young males, many of whom come from cultures in which women and young girls are not even treated as second-class citizens. So the answer is yes, I do understand the genuine upset and anger. And I'll bet you that most of the people outside that hotel in Epping weren't far right or far left or anything like that. They were just genuinely concerned families.
And there are questions that the police must now answer about their misconduct over the past few days. Reform's McIver has now written to the Chief Constable of Essex asking for an urgent upgrade to operational policing in order to restore faith in the local community, because the police have a duty to protect peaceful protest. But he also asked some key questions of the police, like, why were counter-protesters escorted by officers towards women and children peacefully protesting at the Bell Hotel? Why were police vehicles used to ferry counter-protesters at the expense of taxpayers? Why were the left-wing mob of counter-protesters from, and have the organisers been spoken to by the police? Who made the operational policing decision to engage the Met Police with a sensitive community matter, knowing they have a horrendous reputation and record? Why were alternative forces not engaged? So these are all incredibly important questions. Why were the police vans driving at speed up and down Epping High Street continuously, causing a scene? What preventative work has been done, and what is the long-term plan? That is a concern that was shared by Peter Blesley with Alex Phillips.
Yet another aspect of this story which may be raising tempers. It would appear, I haven't had it confirmed, but it would appear that yesterday some police vans were filled with counter-protesters.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The Antifa mob, and they were ferried, possibly awaiting confirmation, from the local railway station to the protest in police vans. Now, if that has happened, that is utterly unforgivable, completely unforgivable, and would be in a clear breach of a High Court ruling that was handed down this week with regards to police impartiality.
An independent journalist, Lewis Brackpool, is now investigating the possible coordination and facilitation of far-left counter-protesters by police and local authorities during the 17th of July protest. He says video evidence captured by various citizen journalists shows counter-protesters arriving and departing in police vans, with one officer referring to the vans as the buses. The individuals involved appeared to be affiliated with activist groups such as Stand Up to Racism and similar far-left networks. Their movement in and out of the protest site was managed separately from the main demonstrators. So to discuss further the police cover-up around Epping's Bell Hotel, I'm joined now by the aforementioned Alex Phillips and Lewis Brackpool. So Alex, it really does feel like the police have serious questions to answer here.
Yeah, it's interesting because Essex police actually put out a statement over the weekend condemning those who had infiltrated the protests and saying that they had been trying to whip up a frenzy where otherwise people had a right to express their views and their concerns locally, and also countered this suggestion that they were being used to ferry these protesters in and out of the protest area. So I hadn't myself seen firsthand any of the video footage, but when someone like Peter Blexley, himself an ex-Met police detective who is an absolute curmudgeon for the facts and getting things right, says to me live on national radio, no, this has happened, you have to assume that this did happen. And later on in the programme, we were reflecting on how a very similar thing appeared to happen in the post-Southport protests, which then became riots. I remember a number of days of protests happening, people standing with placards or doing a march through the centre of Southport. And then all of a sudden, other elements seemed to get involved who wanted to throw projectiles or create missiles to aim at the police, who had balaclavas on, who seemed to be very professional, very active in their form of protest, not like ordinary citizens. And then all of a sudden it ramped up to such a level that it was then able to be forcefully shut down. And so I do have very serious concerns. They're not necessarily grounded in any evidence I have that this is taking place, but I do have some very serious concerns that there could be a move at play to try and make sure that these protests stop by ensuring that they escalate in order that they can then be shut down.
Lewis Brackpool, what have you discovered?
Thank you very much for having me on, by the way. So at the minute it's ongoing, this investigation. I kind of leapt into action after seeing some of the evidence that has been posted online by citizen journalists who had been live streaming for 7 to 8 hours a day being there. And after some people were reposting footage online, there was one particular one of a guy filming a load of people getting inside vans, and one of the police officers sort of ushering them in and saying and calling them buses, which was particularly bizarre. The individuals involved appeared to be affiliates with activist groups such as Stand Up to Racism and similar far-left networks. Their movement in and out of the protest site was, or seems to be, managed separately from the main demonstrators, of course, where obviously it's just local people, most of the people there. And the idea of this investigation is just to determine whether there was a pre-arranged coordination, any logistical support, or even funding as well from either local councils, third-party groups, and of course the police. So I've submitted various FOI requests and tried to get in touch with the councillor of the area as well. Firstly, Essex Police, requesting any operational orders, any internal emails or gold, silver, bronze command notes related to the policing of the protest and counter-protest activity between that time. And Essex County Council as well, seeking information on any involvement in transport, public safety coordination, or funding connected to the protest event, particularly the counter-protesters. And Epping Forest District Council, requesting internal emails, correspondence with police, any permit applications, or any discussions regarding the presence or transport or stewarding of counter-protesters. So it's at the minute ongoing. I have had acknowledgements that they are processing the requests. Essex Police hasn't been very helpful. They just keep referring me to statements that they've made, which is not good enough. So I'm trying to press that.
Exactly.
So hopefully,
but yeah, because we've got to get to the bottom of these questions. Lewis, do you think Tommy Robinson is right not to go, which is what he seems to be leaning towards? Because obviously he announced last night that he would be there, and there's been a lot of pushback from a lot of people saying, look, no, the strong, powerful thing about this movement is that it's being driven by the locals, and the locals have this in hand. Don't give them another reason to arrest you either.
Yeah, I think he's made a good call to pull out and not actually go. I know he's obviously a bit to and fro about that at the minute, but I think he's made a good call personally. I think the local The local people of the area seem to have it completely under control, and they're obviously peacefully protesting. And yeah, I think he's made a good judgment.
I mean, he hasn't said it's 100% yet, has he? But I mean, it seems to be heading that way. Of course, there are questions too about how widespread these protests might become. Should point this out to you, it wasn't just Essex this weekend. This post says, well done to the local residents of Rushmore Aldershot who gave up their Sunday to fight to save their community and called an emergency demonstration outside the Potters Hotel. Guess what? No lefties, no trouble. And we've got some footage of that too. Alex, could you see this becoming a national movement?
Yeah, I think this is likely to now happen around the country, which is probably why there are going to be very deep, grave concerns among the establishments about how they can contain this, how they can put it back in a bottle, which is their only focus, quite frankly. They seem to only wish to try and stop the outpouring of emotion and concern in response to what is being done to our communities, rather than actually stop the problem itself. And I think, echoing what's been said about Tommy Robinson, it is right he doesn't go there, because this would essentially put a massive, rocket booster underneath it. You would end up with thousands of counter protesters as well, street clashes. It would escalate to the point that then a heavy-handedness could be used. What's going on at the moment is local residents are making their voices heard. It's starting to get pick up. I think these will be copied around the country, and it is the people sending the government a very clear message, because they're not being listened to at the ballot box. They're not being listened to. Their concerns are not being addressed. Actually, there's something that I was sent earlier on today, which is from a private housing company who are looking for private residential properties to be used as houses of multiple occupancy around the country. And they have this chart which has a traffic light system. Red light means that particular place will not accept any more residences because it is full, or it said it's not going to do that. An amber light is we still want a few properties here, and a green light is we are actively looking for private properties to be used as houses of multiple occupancy for migrants who are being moved out of hotels. And you would never guess which place appeared on the green light list: Epping Forest. And so what you can see happening now is the governments are going to move people out of these hotels and actually put them in houses in the very streets where these residents live. You couldn't make it up.
This is Operation Scatter, right? Operation Scatter. Let's get them out of hotels and we'll just put them in houses all over the country, and then you won't necessarily know about it. But we're not that stupid, although I guess while there are these hotels in action, I would argue that it's still sensible to focus on them. But as Alex points out, the solution, unfortunately, might just mean that these people end up in houses throughout your community, which is obviously absolutely chilling.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.